Hi, my name's Larissa and I've been a creative director for over 20 years now. I work in ecom and digital now, but I spent the majority of my career, which is over 15 years, working in publishing and specifically in magazine design. I've worked for over 25 different magazines over the years across many categories, including fashion, beauty, women's lifestyle, home and interiors, food magazines, celebrity weekly gossip magazines, and even men's magazines. Some of the titles that I've worked for include Marie Claire, where I was digital art director for over 8 years. And I've also worked for iconic Australian magazine Clio, as well as Home Beautiful and Real Living and NW. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 of the most common mistakes that designers make when designing for magazines. So number 1 is not sticking to the brand typefaces and being consistent with the elements that you use, such as typographic elements like character and paragraph styles. So if you're designing for magazines, I'm going to assume that you're designing in Adobe InDesign, which is the page layout program and the industry standard. In there, you can set up page templates that you can duplicate and use for all the pages in your magazines. And within these page templates, you want to set up consistent margins, which is the white space top, bottom, and sides of each of your spreads and single pages. You also want to set up consistent page folios, which are your page numbers, and also character and paragraph styles for the type styles that you'll be using throughout your magazine. Things like subheadings, captions, body copy size. So you want to make sure you use these templated styles all the way through your magazine to make sure that what you end up with is a polished and professional looking design result. The second mistake that I often see magazine designers making is designing pages in isolation. And what I mean by that is, even if on your magazine grid or page plan for the entire magazine, you see that a page is to be designed as a single page. So you're in a magazine design, some pages will be designed as spreads, which is 2 pages side by side, and some will be a single page, but you'll have an ad next to it. And I think what's really important here is that you don't design your single pages in isolation. You always think in terms of spreads when you're designing for a magazine. So even if you have a single editorial page, you want to look at what that ad next to it is going to look like, if you can have access to that, before you start designing your single page. The reason you do this is because when someone's viewing your magazine, they're not looking at a page in isolation. They're going to look at it with the ad beside it if they're a reader and they're flicking through. So you always want to design spreads looking at a layout as a whole, even if one of those pages is an ad, because once you've seen what that ad looks like, that may determine choices that you make related to how your design looks, where you place your text, color and image choices. The third mistake that I often see magazine designers making is not paying attention to the balance of your layout. So you want to make sure that the content and all the elements in your layout, whether that's different text blocks, captions, image captions, where you place your images, any kind of design element, you want to make sure looks balanced across the page. And the way you do this is you don't want to make all your elements clustered in one part of your page, because then that page will look really heavy and the rest of the layout will look really light, and that creates an uncomfortable feeling. When people look at a layout that's not balanced, it makes it uncomfortable for your viewer and not pleasing to look at. And essentially you're there to convey information to your viewer, and if a page is uncomfortable to look at, they won't read it and you won't have achieved what you hope to with your design, which is conveying information. So you want to make sure you don't cluster all your elements in one spot and leave it too bare in another part of the page. Because what you want to do also is create energy and interest and a flow with your design. So you want to lead your viewer's eye across your design and have them absorb the information in that design. That's the objective.